Now, sometimes with how things work and how schedules happen to conflict and real life kind of halts everything, well, that's basic everyday life. It's kind of hard to get everything done in a timely manner. And the reason why I talk about that is because I wasn't able to come over or get online with a pre-game review and prediction over the Seahawks and Raiders. Now, I do want to apologize that I was not able to come out with that video. I've been extremely tired from my job and with my wife back to working after a few mishaps that we had go on at the beginning of the year. She was unable to go to work. And now that she is back working, it has hindered my schedule as well, to where somebody has to be, at certain places at certain times when she can't be there because she's going to be at work. So it's also hindering my work schedule as well. But when I do get the opportunity to work, I work all day long. I wear myself out, and every day this week, it's been real hot. Even 96 degrees in Texas feels unbearable. People in Arizona talk about 125 degree heat. Well, look, buddy, I've been in Arizona. I went to Arizona in the middle of, I believe it was July or August. I think it was August, man, because it was the preseason game back in 2011 when we played the Arizona Cardinals. And I walked halfway across Phoenix because my homeboy, man, he had some things he had to do, man, and I wanted to see the town anyway. And so I decided to see what was up, go take off, walking halfway across Phoenix, and just see how far I got, I don't know, I walked about 4 hours. I had a few people stopping by on the side of the road asking me if I needed a ride. And I looked at them, man, in Texas, it's a different kind of heat. Okay? It's a lot hotter here than in a lot of other places in America, and I don't give a fuck where you are. Alright? 95 degrees here with a 50% heat index is hotter than 125 to 130 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona. When I walked halfway across Phoenix, Arizona, I broke out in a sweat up above my hat where my brow was, my armpits, and, possibly my private area. But in Texas, you go outside for 7 minutes after you've taken a shower and you are completely drenched in sweat, and this is what you deal with on a day-to-day basis. Now, I work in this type of environment. I'm out there almost every day, especially during the summer, because I am a lawn care landscape provider by trade. And I do this as, fun, as a hobby, because I love my football team, And this year's just been really hard to try to keep up with everything because I've had so much on my plate. But, anyway, I don't really want to talk about that anymore. I just really want to get y'all to understand that my time is limited. Hopefully that within the next few months, hopefully by the next month, everything's going to start cooling off and dying out here to where I'm not going to have much work, and I will have the time to be able to dump more effort into this, which, looking up stats and coming out with game predictions and post-game reviews and of all that nature, and then plus, of course, all the extra stuff that I would like to do. Now, I also want to talk about in my last video about how I was wrong about DeAndre Washington being cut. He actually has not been cut as of yet, but could be by the time we drop this video, we might be hearing about a lot of roster cuts going on within the Raiders since we have to cut down to 53 by Saturday. You guys will more than likely be getting this late Friday evening or Saturday morning early. So we'll see exactly how that plays out. But I did want to go over the fact that I was wrong, but he's not out of the woods yet, especially with the way our running backs have been playing in the preseason. I honestly don't know that if he can be cut, he actually might be sent to injured reserve. Because I don't believe that you can cut a player who is injured. But then again, with the time of year that it is, I'm not very certain. Now, I want to call out to One Nation On Air on YouTube, Watch Raider, Raider Fan Radio, and Murph's Fan Cave, and other independent fan channels who produce content, who put it on the air, and basically give everybody what everybody wants to hear, what everybody wants to see. Now, I'm a huge fan of the ones that I've mentioned, and I know that there's more out there. There's Raider Tom, I believe, on Facebook, which he's going through the same thing that Mikey is going through right now, from what I've heard from one of my friends. Now he has to just call himself Tom, because he's gotten too popular to where he's had to just drop the Raider off of his name. So, and I do want to shout out to all these guys, and especially everybody like that. Now, I want to make sure that all of us who like how independent fan channels give you your content, and, the way they give you everything that you want to see with the breakdowns of the videos, and how, certain channels will come up with game previews, game predictions, all the stuff that basically you would want to see that's not coming from the mainstream media, because the mainstream media is always so biased toward our football team. Support them in any way possible. Any way possible that you can. Because the corporate agencies are moving in on our platform on YouTube, and they are trying to outrule us and overrule us and go over the top of us. Now, you know which ones I'm talking about, man. The only thing I can say is just support your independent fan channels on YouTube and their podcasts. Go support their content. Go view their videos. Go listen to their podcasts. Share their channels. And donate if available. And I know it's really hard to donate nowadays, especially with the way the economy is working nowadays. But if you do have the extra and you really want to see your independent fan channel succeed over the corporate bigotry that has slipped itself into YouTube now, go help these guys out. Now, let's go ahead and get into the preseason week 4 versus the Seattle Seahawks and the Oakland Raiders. Now, we went to Seattle, and this was a great game for us, and I want to go over exactly how I was wrong on the whole Khalil Mack issue, on the whole backup quarterback issue, and give it to you straight, because when I'm right, I'm going to give it to you whether I'm right or wrong, and I'm going to take credit regardless on which side I may have been on. And I'm going to definitely take recognition for it too. So that's one thing you'll always get out of me. It's one thing you'll always get out of me, is that I'm not going to mess around. If I called something bogus, man, I'm going to say, hey, I called something bogus. And the Teddy Bridgewater deal, I definitely called bogus, because I really, really would have liked to have seen Teddy Bridgewater on the team. It would have been bad AF. I know I'm having to do that because I really don't want to cuss in these videos. But it would be awesome if Teddy Bridgewater and Derek Carr, two quarterbacks from the same draft class who were projected to do not so well in their careers, on the same team, after everything unfolded and how they both wound up being a couple of the best quarterbacks of that draft class. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the intro and get into the preseason week 4 of the Oakland Raiders versus the Seattle Seahawks. So here we are. We're going over the portion the stat portion of preseason week 4 against the Seattle Seahawks. And as you can tell, like I said, when somebody's wrong, man, somebody's wrong. And this person, when they're wrong, they admit it. And I didn't think we had a backup quarterback on this squad whatsoever. And well, from looking at these stats right here, and of course from the pictures that you're about to see, I think we've found a backup quarterback and then some. Actually, a really good, decent backup quarterback in E.J. Manuel. I'm really hoping that he makes the team. And with the performance, with the way he played this game, there shouldn't be any reason why he shouldn't make the team. You know. And then, of course, we've got the wide receivers who balled out. Now, the running backs, they didn't really do as well as they've done in previous weeks. But I still think that and believe that Chris Warren has definitely solidified himself a spot on this roster. I know that if I was running the team, he would definitely be on my roster. I wouldn't have Doug Martin whatsoever, especially knowing that having a guy like this who is, one, a big solid back. And the only critique part that I can say about him, and what I mean by critique is the bad thing to say about him, is that he doesn't get low enough when he's exploding through the hole, when he's going through the line. But that can be taught, and I'm sure that that's going to be fairly easy for him to learn, even though you can tell that he's one of those running backs who likes to run upright. Now, our wide receivers, man, this is what's sad, is you got Keon Hatcher, who had 8 receptions this game for 128 yards, dude. He had 3 touchdowns, and he tied Saheed Blacknell with 3 receptions for 58 yards, 1 touchdown, but he tied him for the longest catch at 45 yards. Now, we also have Marcel Aitman, who had 3 receptions, 58 yards, and his longest catch was 43 yards. Dude, EJ and Connor Cook actually did not look bad this game. Our backup quarterback situation looks a lot better than I thought it did. The sad thing about it here is that one of these guys more than likely is going to have to go, and it's probably going to be Connor Cook, who's going to be shipped back to the practice squad just like a couple seasons ago. Now let's move on to defense, man. Mike Nugent had 1 of 1 field goal and 3 of 4 extra points. Man, Sebastian Janikowski, dude, actually, he looks terrible, dude, as a Seahawk. I really just wish he would have retired as a Raider. That's all I got to say. When you miss 2 extra points and you're playing against your old team, you know. Look at Cabandina again with 6 tackles and 4 assists. Now, defensively, our pass defense looked a little sluggish. I'm not going to lie about that. It didn't look like that we were swarming to the ball like I would like out of my defense. But all in all, the blitzing packages look great. The defensive scheme looks great, even with these second and third string people in here. You know, it's really going to be a sad day when it comes up here in the morning when a lot of these guys are let go. Now, from what I hear, Mario Edwards has actually been put up on the trade block. So we actually might trade him. We'll see how that works. I really do hope that Shalik Calhoun makes the team. You know, I don't know about Sharice Wright. I really don't think that I really just don't think he's cut out for it. He's definitely not cut out for our team. You know, but he's probably going to make it because that's one of Gruden's pickups, you know. I mean, there's really nothing outstanding to point out except for the fact that E.J. Manuel looked absolutely fabulous. And I mean, if there was anything that he had to say about becoming the backup on this team, I believe it was already said. That is for sure. So here we go with the ending of the review, and as you can see, we dominated the Seattle Seahawks 30-19. Literally having the game put on the shoulders of our backup quarterback E.J. Manuel and our backup wide receivers, along with a solid defense who did exactly what they needed to do, holding the opponent to under 20 points and letting our offense take over the game. Now, I was one of the skeptics who didn't think E.J. Manuel or Connor Cook were good enough to be the backup quarterback on this team. Well, I was proven wrong along with quite a few others because EJ Manuel wrecked shop and he went 18 of 22 for 255 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, this dude didn't do anything throughout the first 3 preseason games, and then he came out and balled out in the 4th preseason game, showing and solidifying that he needs to be the backup on this team. And I do want to applaud that because I really thought that this was going to be a problem for us. And after seeing what he pulled off, I'm not too convinced that he is exactly what we need, but I'm more comfortable with him back there now than I was through the first 3 weeks of preseason. Keon Hatcher was one of the guys who caught one of Manuel's passes, and when he was tackled by the Seattle Seahawks as he was rolled down to the ground, he seemed so determined to stay on his feet that after he rolled on top of the Seattle Seahawk, he popped up to his feet without being down and ran the rest of the way to the touchdown. He had 8 receptions for 128 yards with 3 touchdowns, man. This guy was catching slant routes over the middle in the red zone, scoring touchdowns. And the sad thing about it is he's probably not going to make the team, but he sure did ball out for us. And I really do hope that we possibly can make room for this guy here and also making room for a few other of the receivers that we have on this roster. Like Marcel Aitman, who had 3 receptions for 58 yards. Now, he caught a wide open pass down in the middle of the field toward the sideline when EJ Manuel rolled out to his right side. Now, this guy has been making plays all preseason, and even though he only went 3 receptions for 58 yards here and he didn't score, I really do hope that this guy makes the team, even though I do know that we're not going to keep every single wide receiver that we have on the roster. Just like Saheed Blacknail, he caught a deep bomb from EJ Manuel for his touchdown, and he also went 3 receptions for 58 yards. This was one of the guys that I was talking about who tied for the longest pass in the game with 45 yards. So, I mean, we've got a lot of decisions to make, and tomorrow is going to be a very sad day for a lot of these guys, and I have a feeling that a lot of the ones who balled out in this game are going to be a lot of the ones that are not on the team tomorrow. Now what everybody seems to want to talk about, which is Khalil Mack. Well, this just in, he sent in a Twitter post saying that he misses football. Now, a lot of people are still speculating, like Ian Rappaport saying that Khalil Mack trade deals are being talked about and are very real. I don't believe so. Now, without certain people on the market, really, Khalil Mack is worth a lot more than anybody is willing to trade for him. If anybody was going to hop on that trade market and pick this guy up, they would have thrown the bus at him. They would have done anything they possibly could to get this guy. And obviously, since he still hasn't had any offers for him yet, or any offers enticing enough for the Raiders to bite, we can either franchise tag him or we can sign him to a new deal after we make all these cuts to save some money. And not to mention, we're going to have cap room next year to get him signed to a long-term deal. But bottom line is, guys, he's still ours for at least a year. Disgruntled or not, we're not going to budge on getting rid of him, I don't think. Because if we were going to, we would have already pulled the string already. And I'm telling you right now, this just in, man, Aaron Donald for the Los Angeles Rams, the guy that Khalil Mack, I believe, and everybody else believes that has been, who he's been waiting on to sign a deal to see exactly how much he's going to get. It's a 6-year deal worth $135 million, ranging at $22 million a year. So now the bar has been set. We pretty much know that Khalil Mack is probably going to ask for at least $22 million, in between $20 and $22 million. Now, whether we pay for it, that is yet to be seen, but I do hope that we see Khalil Mack week 1 against the Rams on Monday Night Football. And no joke, bro, Khalil, man, we miss you too. You miss football, we miss you. Why don't you come on back and play, man? So we're going to go ahead and get into a prediction video now because I'm probably not going to have time to do it later due to my work schedule and how much I have to do throughout this next week and me being by myself. So I'm just going to go ahead and knock it out now. I think that it's going to be an offensive affair with the Oakland Raiders defense stepping up to make sure that we win the game. Now, even though that they have a high-powered offense, they do have Todd Gurley, they have Jared Goff, and I do believe that they have a few good wide receivers, which I couldn't name them right off the bat, but I'm sure I'll remember their names by Monday. You know, but I do believe that this is going to be a high-scoring affair, and even though with as high-powered as an offense that they have, I believe our defense shuts them down, and our offense comes up and rises above all the rest, and we win 28-17. I'm projecting Derek Carr to have at least over 250 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. I'm also projecting that Marshawn Lynch has at least 80 yards rushing this game. And I'm going to say that our wide receivers are going to ball out, and Jordy Nelson is going to head the pack with more than 55 yards receiving. Now, of course, I'm just pulling all this shit out of my ass, but I'm doing the best I can going on about 7 hours sleep, and I really just needed to get this video out here to, give y'all some content to watch. Now, that's basically it, guys. I'm not really gonna harp on anything about what we're gonna do. I think that we pound the ball at them, and then when they decide that, okay, we're gonna stack the box, that's when we're gonna go to the air on them. And hopefully our wide receivers are going to be as good as they were this preseason. Amari Cooper's not going to be dropping the ball like he was last season. And we start scorching these teams for mega yards and putting up a massive amount of points. So anyway, thank you for stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications.